Hey everybody, I'm going to do a 5150 tribute guitar and bought this kit from Build Your Own Guitar, byoguitar.com. This is a Lunatic body, they say, with a banana headstock, so you can see that. You can see the tribute pictures I downloaded from the internet and a few of the supplies. So this is a review of the kit that I got and a look at some of the stuff that I have purchased for putting this thing together. So, first off, the guitar kit itself. This is, if you're familiar with the Lunatic, it's a Strat style body, but it's asymmetrical, unlike the sort of Ibanez Super Strat kind of thing, or the Fender Strat style. The body is routed for a single humbucker, and then the bridge with two posts, and then one volume knob there. So the cavity of the back's actually really small. If you look at this, is a replica that's out there. I don't know who did it or why, but this may be the original. I don't know who did this. Kramer Pacer body, perhaps, or maybe they called it a Lunatic. I don't know. But you'll notice the control cavity is quite a bit larger. The banana headstock, I don't know if the originals were done in one piece, but you can see that this has a joint in it. Eddie's first shot at this particular guitar was a Pacer neck, which is different, and he had it. He had the wood, these tuning peg holes filled, and then the neck reshaped as a banana headstock, and then new holes drilled, because these don't line up with the strings where the nut would go. The strings all have to deflect into the various. Here's a good picture that shows that. Hopefully this shows up on the camera, but you can tell the strings have to deflect away from the nut to get into where the tuners are. Anyway, there's a lot going on with these, the replicas that are out there, and there's tons and tons and tons of them. So why would I want to do them? That's what my wife wants to know. Why wouldn't you just do your own design? Well, it's a tribute, and it's just fun, and you know, I just want to have one. So a lot of these guys will do a tribute guitar, a replica, and then relic it, and that's what I'm going to do with this one. I'm going to do a little deeper sanding here, so that's bare wood exposed, and I might or might not invest some time putting nicks and scratches in it. I haven't made up my mind on that. I'm not going to do cigarette burns on it. I just don't feel like it. And another thing that you'll notice, here is a particularly good replica. I don't know who this individual is that's holding it, because I taped a face on top of the individual's face. But anyway, we're going to call this a really good and really genuine replica. But you'll notice a couple things. A lot of the replicas have the MXR pedal knob, or MXR style knob, they're calling them, on them. Well, you notice this individual just has a Fender top hat knob on it. Happens to say tone. I'm sure I can't see that in this picture, but you'll notice in a lot of the replicas, it's not really showing up really clearly, but this stripe, for example, the black stripe, there's a lot of overspray. So the black stripes were not done. If you look at the Frankenstrat, there's a lot of YouTube videos you can get for how they're done, and those stripes are done starting with a black guitar, then painted white with tape on it so that you have a white guitar with black stripes, and then you stripe it again with tape and paint it red so that you have a red looking guitar with white and black stripes, the black stripes being the predominant ones, and the white stripes are the ones that are covered by black stripes, so it appears. This was done here with a white guitar painted red so that it was red with white stripes, and then the black stripes were painted on top. So the only way to do that is to mask off the part you don't want to paint, and then the third coat is black paint. So that was clearly done not even with tape, but probably just with, I don't know, paper or I don't know what, but there's the black stripes on the original are tremendous overspray shows up. So I don't know if if this replica shows that very well. You can see this stripe is not sharp edged at all, and I don't think that's the product of relicing. I think one or two of these was clearly a tremendous amount of overspray, and I'm thinking of that one. I don't have a picture of that original, so all I thought I would show were replicas that were easy and freely downloadable. Now, that's where this is going. To do that, I bought some paint. I'm going with, to be reliced, I don't want this to have a gloss finish, so I'm going with a flat finish, satin finish. So that's what this clear is going to be on the end. This is a gloss paint. This is a gloss paint. The black one isn't, but it won't matter if I go over it with a clear coat that's not a gloss finish. And between every coat, I'm sanding it with 1000 or something paper. So you're going to get a matte finish when I'm done, which is what I'm going for. But I am going to relic the paint job after the paint is complete and then clear coat it so that it's protected, because I also don't want the paint wearing off unnecessarily. I just want to protect it. I just think it's a good idea. So the guitar kit itself, this is called a Lunatic kit from buildyourownguitar.com. There's the little pick they gave me. It's a thin, super thin, light pick, and I don't like light. Like, I play with pretty heavy picks, so that is just going to get taped to the wall, or I don't know what. Put in a bin with all my other picks. The finish is, they say it's got one coat of some kind of finish on it, and it feels like it hasn't even been sanded. You can see, you can't on the camera, but there's some shiny spots and satiny spots. So it was definitely done with one coat and then not sanded again. So step one for me is going to be sanding the body and then not putting any more sealer on it, because I'm going to paint it first coat with the white, and the white is a paint plus primer. So that's going to do a good enough job of protecting it, I think. The neck is kind of grody. The finish is just super, super rough. Like, I'm feeling this thing. It's just very, very rough. I don't know if you can see any reflections off of the lights, but very, again, sort of a matte finish. The holes that are drilled in it look fine. They don't look perfectly square, but I mean, they were probably drilled through the body or through the same template the body was. So I'm sure they'll line up fine. The neck's actually a very tight fit. So I'm going to have to tap it in with a hammer anyway, particularly after if I do anything like, paint, which I'm going to. The frets are really kind of brassy colored, and I'm sure that's the spray they put on it. And once I sort of polish these down, they're going to get back to more of a chromy finish, but they've clearly got grit all over them, so I'm going to have to hit all of these with sand. And the finish on the neck is, either I have to sand it off to make it a matte finish, or I need to do more spray, enamel, gloss, whatever finish to do that. So I'm not sure which direction I'm going to go. The replica has red paint on the back of the neck, so after the stripes were done, the neck was painted, the headstock rather was painted red. I've seen and like the look of just a wood finish, maybe like a gloss or whatever finish on the headstock, but because of the joint, I might choose to go with the red finish just to match the original. I think this picture has the red. You can tell the headstock is red. And I've seen a guy do a video online of his, and he just did the stripy paint work on the front, and then it's wood finish on the back. So, on to some problems. The pickup cavity is too narrow, so I can't even get the pickup in that they provided. So that's going to take some routing. Plus, I'm going to have to lift that up to pull it a bit. The cavity went too deep, so there's a substantial hole there, and a matching one on the other side. It's a little smaller, but you can see it. That might be so that I can fish the ground wire through there, and yeah, maybe. But I'm not using the pickup ring, and I'm not going to use this cover on the back, so I don't want there to be an obvious cavity. So I'm probably going to have to cut a little piece of wood to go in that hole, and one on this side as well, and then route. I'm definitely going to have to route this wider. You'll see the tilted pickup if this was a single coil and then retro routed for a humbucker, the way Eddie liked it and did it. And then some of the replicas don't have that. They have the pickup mounted straight. But you can see the routing. Well, I don't know if you can see it, but the routing is definitely wider, and it doesn't have these sort of tabs in the routing, which is, you can tell obviously this bit of routing was done different from this bit of routing. I'm just going to round the whole thing off and make them wider, sufficient to fit this pickup. So one side I'll have to go wider with the router. And that's basically it. So hardware, let's see, they always give you one of these absolute rubbish cables, but my Allen keys and the tremolo arm are in there. Another cover, there's a big difference. The originals had the truss rod adjustment end was at the heel of the neck. So in this particular replica, there's no way of adjusting the the truss rod without taking the neck off. And then in this kind, there's a little opening there for you to get your tool in. And I can't tell from the pictures whether or not that's the sort of Charvel style wheel or whether it's just a Allen key opening and there's just enough room for you to fish your Allen key into that gap. But what you don't have is an exposed truss rod adjustment opening, which you have here. So I'm not going to worry about that, whether or not I put that cover on it or whether I just go with the paintwork and let that part be exposed. I'm probably going to do that. I'm going to not use a lot of these covers. The cover for the control cavity is in fact just round. It is only big enough for one volume knob to go in there. And then the spring cavity just is exposed as well. And I'm just going to do that too. I also didn't get an MXR style knob, and I did not get a fender top hat style knob. I got, where is it? A chrome knurled knob. So I'm probably going to have to get something else to put on it if I want this to be a good replica. Or I can just put the chrome one on there and not worry too much about it. There are so many replicas out there, and Eddie did so many of these guitars himself anyway that he didn't, follow the kind of strict rules that I'm going to follow when I tape mine off. He just slapped tape on it and painted it and just did whatever looked cool and kept probably an even spacing. I'm sure that was part of the motivation. I am going to try and make it look like a replica, so I'm going to try and make it look like one where there's a picture of it and then make it look like the picture as best I can within reason. So what other hardware we got? Chrome Chinese tuners. These are not Grovers, these are just your basics. I have a Fender Squier, like a vintage modified Squier, and it comes with excellent tuners. They don't have any play in them. Here's the sign, you've got cheap tuners. If you have to tune the string flats, like substantially flat, and then tune it sharp until you hit the pitch that you're trying to, you've got cheap tuners. If you can just flatten the string a bit and leave it there and it stay there, you've got good tuners. So my Squier had excellent tuners on it. They were like that. I have Fender staggered locking tuners on another guitar, and they are also excellent tuners. So are these excellent? I don't know. We'll find out. But they're the only chrome tuners I have. I have a pack of black ones that are for another guitar, and I have a set of the sort of Fender Cluson style tuners, which wouldn't look right at all in this application. Plus, they're meant to line up with a Fender spacing, and this is not Fender spacing, so they wouldn't touch, and they're supposed to, because one screw in between each tuner is sort of how they line up. So that's that. The claw hardware standard stuff. There's your cover plate, a rounded cover plate with your basic jack. There's your Floyd bridge, nut, and the Floyd, licensed under Floyd patents bridge, chrome bridge with a tiny, tiny, tiny little mass block in the back. Am I going to replace that? I don't know. Probably not. The wiring is kind of rubbish as well. This is just the cheapest pot that you can find. I'm sure. So I have a Fender CTS 250K pot that I could put in this. I don't know if this is a 500K. The humbucker, you typically put a 500. So I don't know. I might or might not. And then, of course, the crap strings they give you. I've had strings that I've ordered from China on eBay that were $1 a pack, and they were absolute crap. When you took them off, they curled up like they've been through a hair curler. So, and of course, they didn't sound good. They were just garbage. So I may just throw these out, or I may put them on, I don't know what, build a slide guitar and put them on there. Who knows? Anyway, that's basically it. So there's the kit. Oh, the tape that I bought. I could only get 2 widths of tape at the hardware store. They didn't have a whole bunch. And then a guy that was there that I happened to talk to, strangely enough, worked at the other major hardware store. I won't bother naming them. And he said, no, this is all we carry as well. You got the super thin, and then your standard looks like 3/4 of an inch. I've got this old roll, which is slightly wider than the green roll that I got, and there are at least 3 widths of tape used in this. So we'll see. We'll see how I do that. I may just go with 2 widths. There's definitely a thick and a thin, and the black widths, who cares, because I have to tape around where I want the stripes to go and then paint around the tape, right? Or paint, yeah, where I didn't tape it. So basically that's it. I've got a bit of routing I'm going to have to do before I can start paint, and I've got a lot of cleanup to do on the neck. The frets look good, they look crowned, and they look level, but I'm still going to have to check that. So I have a set of files for crowning frets, and I have, well, I don't have a neck leveler, but I can glue, paper, that adhesive sandpaper to a level and use that as a leveling file. I'm sure, for the cost of $3 or less than 10 anyway, to get paper and level, like a yard level or something. I'm sure it's worth it. And then re-crown the frets, and I'm going to sand the finish off the neck and just go with a flat finish. Eddie says he prefers, this isn't him of course, this is a snowman, he prefers the just feel of natural unfinished wood and let it soak up the oil from your hand and get all filthy dirty looking. This replica doesn't show a filthy dirty neck, but I've seen a couple pictures of, sort of really beaten up ones. There's a couple of great pictures out there. Just Google 5150 replica and you'll see the body separated from the neck and any hardware, and then there's colored lines that indicate the various thicknesses of tape that you would need to do that replica. They're just a good judge, a good guide for where the tape needs to go, unless you don't think you can just look at this picture and figure it out for yourself. But anyway, that's the skill. That's the project. It's going to take a bit of work and a bit of painting, and it's just basically for fun. If I wanted to buy an expensive guitar kit, I could have. This was less than $200 US. It'll be what it is. I had the choice of using expensive hardware, like replacing the pickups with better ones that were an additional $40, $50, $70 if I wanted a Seymour Duncan pickup in there. And then the tuners, I can get Grover tuners for an additional $30. And I'm not sure if they offered upgraded wiring or not. I don't remember. I don't think they did. But, you can get a volume pot for relatively cheap, and then wire is wire. You can get that anywhere. So this is going to be exactly what the kit comes with. Base, bare bones kit. I made that decision. I want to see just what kind of a kit do you get for $200, and what can you do with it. No, that's just down to what kind of paint work you want to do. So if you wanted to do a nice sunburst or something, that involves stains and dyes and stuff. I wanted to do what you can do with spray paint and make the thing look way more interesting, which was the whole point. Oh, I'm also not going with the these metal hooks. They're the eyes, I guess they call them eye hooks or eye screws or whatever. That's what Eddie used, and I see a lot of the replicas have that. I'm not going to bother with that. I'm just going to put strap pegs, because I don't have a strap that's fit for those kind of screwy things. I've just got what these come with. I got straps that fit these, so that's what I'm going with. Anyway, so I'm, This replica is not going to be an absolutely exact replica of Eddie's. I'm just going to make it look interesting, and it'll just be fun. And there you go. So more videos to come once I start the woodwork and the paintwork, and then the assembly and wiring, and we'll just see what you can get for 200 bucks and parts. I'll come up with a final when I'm done, final cost, and we'll see what we get. All right, look forward to seeing you on the next video. Ciao. I also wanted to mention the neck. There's another joint here you can see. This is sort of standard for any guitar with an angled headstock, and I like angled headstock. I think it's a good idea, but you always get this extra joint that's part way up the neck. But there is a huge chip, I hope you can see that, right here in the neck where they've rounded off the heel, and just a massive oh, sorry, I'm looking the wrong side. There we go. So there's this guy, huge chip taken out of the neck when they finished routing it. So that's just sort of like, oh, what? I don't know, quality control issue. You don't see it because this is like going to be embedded deeply into the body, and probably none of that'll show, and that's fine. You know, if you're going to relic a guitar and then complain about a chip, it's kind of dumb. But anyway, I just thought I'd point that out as well. This was done quickly on a machine by some poor guy in China that hopefully got $1 a day for his work. So, you know, your conscience has to be clear if you're going to do this and have it not bother you. You'll never find the guy that you should pay the extra buck to, or you can not support that kind of industry by buying Japanese or Korean. So I don't know, whatever you want to do. The hardware is what it is. It's imitation, cheaply made stuff that will be okay for now. I have to make an example of a licensed Floyd Rose bridge. You can get them absolute garbage, or you can buy them from Floyd Rose and pay 350 bucks. I get this, you can buy one of these for $20. You know, chrome I think is probably the best finish, because I bought some black finish stuff and it was just absolute crap. The nut, I bought a replacement Floyd nut for an older Vantage guitar, if you remember those from Korea, and they wouldn't hold the strings. You tighten the strings down and it just wouldn't hold it. Plus it was too thick, so the nut height was wrong, and that meant that the intonation for open chords was impossible. You couldn't tune the guitar and then play open string chords like, you know, an E or a C or whatever, a G down at the neck. It just sounded crap. So again, it's sort of a get what you pay for kind of factor here, but again, this is all about what do you get for 200 bucks. So when we're done, we're going to see what kind of a guitar you can put together with $200, and then parts and paint. Assuming your time's worth nothing, do it if you enjoy doing it. That's basically how that works. All right, see you in the next video.